Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the ClutchTalk podcast /YouTube /We Do It All. As always, I'm your host, John. Very happy to be here. My boy Jay, he's over there in the six. How you doing, baby?
Doing great, man. I'm ready. John, what did we say before this episode? There are some beasts in the East, and I'm ready to talk about them. And we got my guy Lance on here to do it. So
yes, sir, man. Jay Hill, you said it best. There are some beasts in the East. So we knew we got to bring a beast guest for this episode, man. So I'm so happy to have Lance back on. Lance, you don't even got to introduce yourself, man. You a two-time guest, man.
Hey, I appreciate being on this podcast. I mean, seriously, guys, thank you for having me on again. You know, I love being a two-time guest. Reminds me of being a two-time MVP. I'm Lance Caparosi. Follow me on Twitter at Lance Caparosi and check out my podcast, Everything Pistons, on all platforms.
Yes, sir, man. So for all the fans, make sure you guys go check out all of Lance's work. Everything's going to be in the description down below, links to everything. So make sure you guys go check that out. But if all that's out the way, you guys ready to talk about the beast in the East?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. So the way we're going to start this off, guys, is I'll just go ahead and start off with my 15th seed. If you guys have any objections, feel free to throw them out there. We could debate them, man. Let me kick it off with my 15th seed. And I got to go with the Orlando Magic. Are there any objections for that 15th seed?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, I got the Cleveland Cavaliers, the young, front-loaded front court. I don't know what's going on there with, K Love, Evan Mobley, who's obviously going to get a lot of minutes there, Jared Allen, and then Lauri Markkanen, who they just brought in from the Bulls. So that's who I got at the 15th seed. I don't really know if they can compete with that backcourt as well. I'm not too sold, and we talked about this in our episode of the Cavs, John. And that is Darius Garland and Colin Sexland. I don't know if that backcourt can work, and that's a huge question mark. So that's why I think maybe we're going to possibly see Sexton on the move before the deadline. I'm not really too sure what's going on there in Cleveland. So I have them at the bottom of the East until they work things out.
What worries you about their backcourt, though?
I think they lack size. I think defensively they ain't it. And then when it comes to, I'm a huge Darius Garland guy. Don't get me wrong. Colin Sexton, on the other hand, I don't think he's a starting two guard in the league. I think he's more of a 6-man spark plug off the bench. And there's been rumors. You believe what you hear. You can't always believe what you hear, but there's, some locker room issues that Sexton's had, teammates. He's had confrontations with them, but you can only breathe so much of that. But that is a question mark that needs to be addressed. And for that reason, I have them at the bottom of the East this upcoming season.
It's interesting. I got Orlando at 15. And, they're, in my opinion, I just want to give my little 2 cents real quick. I think they're too inexperienced, and I don't know what you do with they have too many guards, and it seems like it's too many front court players. I don't know who plays. I don't know who cracks the rotation. It just seems like it's if you're coming in as a new coach, you look at that team and you're like, yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. There's so many different lineups I can create. But man, at the same time, it's a headache because you got so many young, inexperienced players. You don't know who to play. So I'm with you. I think Orlando's number 15.
Yeah, and that's the exact reason that I have at 15, really, because it kind of looks like, like a team that you would see at the rec league or something like that. I mean, it's got a bunch of hoopers just put the ball on the ground, and I don't see how it's going to work out with Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs. But I mean, it's a rebuilding team, man. So that's why they'll be close to the bottom of the league, man. So let's keep it pushing and go to our 14th seed. And Lance, I'm so sorry to have to do this, my guy. I'm sorry, Lance, but I got to put the Pistons. I have to put the Pistons in the 14th seed. There's probably an objection from you, Lance. How are you feeling about the 14th seed?
Okay, so this might surprise you, but I'm with you on this one as well. I actually have Detroit at number 14. I hope you guys weren't expecting an objection. This team is, man, they're going to be better than they were last year. I saw a few websites that had them projected at 18 wins. I'm not buying that. This is a 28-win team, in my opinion. Not many more, but they're a 28-win team. I like what they have. They got Cade Cunningham. Sadiq Bey has looked great in preseason. except for the ankle injury, but he looks more of like a complete offensive player. Jeremy Grant has taken a step forward. Isaiah Stewart, that second unit led by Corey Joseph and Kelly Olynyk and Josh Jackson, that is going to be a scary second unit in the Eastern Conference. But yeah, I'm with you. They're 14 in my opinion.
Okay. Jay Hizzle, what's up?
I had flip-flopped so I got the Magic. Shout out Everyday Magic, by the way, on Twitter. I got them, just an inexperienced team. Obviously, they brought in Jalen Suggs, who, showed flashes. Ultimately, I feel like, Cleveland and Orlando, for me, are going to be both at the bottom of the East. But I feel like they are mortgaged their current roster, obviously giving up Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, and Evan Fournier last year. They made it clear that they're looking towards the future and building from there, and giving away what current success they might have had, this year or past season, for anything for the future. So yeah, they're it's clear the direction they're going in, and I think it's just a year of growing and developing for them. So just another bottom of the barrel East team for me. So that's why I got them at 14.
Okay. All right. So then let's keep it moving. Let's go to 13. And that's where I have the Cleveland Cavaliers at. And honestly, Jay, no, a lot of the points that you brought up definitely, is a concern to me, that small backcourt, the defense problems. But I have a hard time seeing believing that Lauri Markkanen, Jared Allen, Ricky Rubio, players who have been in the league for some time will, allow their team to be at the bottom of the barrel, man. So that's why, and like how you said, Jay, we have Darius Garland, who is continuously just getting better, and hopefully this year the Cavs will be able to pick a direction between, giving Garland the game or giving it to Sexton. But I definitely think that the Cavs will be able to pull off that 13th seed this year. Lance, I seen a smirk. You agree with me on that one? Yeah,
no, me and you we're 3 for 3 so far. I have Orlando, Detroit, Cleveland number 13 for me. I don't have as many concerns about their backcourts as either of you two have. I think Colin Sexton, he was a little bit more efficient last year. He started taking more 3-point shots. He was able to get to the lane. He finishes. I love that guy's confidence. I love his swagger when he's on the floor. One thing about Cleveland, I'm not going to be watching a lot of their games, but I did happen to catch a little bit of their game a couple nights ago, I believe. And they had this weird lineup in where they had Jared Allen, Kevin Love, and Evan Mobley on the floor together. And I'm thinking, you know what, maybe I will catch a few games because that is an interesting front court. That's a lot of size. And I'm just curious and I am excited to see how they use Evan Mobley on that team.
Man,
but they're 13 for me.
13. So. Jay, what's up with you? You got a 3-way agreement here or what? Oh, no.
This is for 13, right?
For 13th, yeah.
Nah, this is a shocker. And I'm falling back on what I said in a previous team interview. And this team is a team who lost their best player, and who's been, their franchise hub for many years. And that's the Toronto Raptors. Shout out my guy, Oko. I got them at 13. I think number one, starting the season, they're going to be starting slow with Pascal Siakam, their all-star, forward, who's going to be out and who I'm not completely sold on as a player. I think he has his flashes, but I want to see that development first, that he can be that number one option because they've certainly paid him to do so. And then, but I do see the development of, OG Anunoby and, Fred VanVleet, obviously as a great scorer, can score with the best of them in the league. I would like to see his efficiency, take a step up, but I don't know if that's possible because they're going to rely on him to take a lot of shots. And obviously Scotty Barnes, a player who they brought in, he shows a lot of promise. I think he's going to be a great player, but obviously it's going to take some time for him to get to the level that they need him to be at in order to compete. And obviously at the bottom, these last 4 teams for me can really flip-flop, but I have the Raptors as a team who's developing, but who knows, they could shock me and be right up there if Siakam comes, ready to play. And Nick Nurse is obviously one of the best coaches, in my opinion, in the East. But for right now, I have them as my 13th.
Can I just say that is an awesome pick for number 13 because I have them a little bit higher. That is a great. I don't want to sleep on the Toronto Raptors, but you made a lot of excellent points. They have a lot of question marks all throughout their roster. They have some good, young, exciting players that are going to take on larger roles going forward, which I think is great. But, man, I'm with you. There's just so many question marks. I wish I would have put them a little lower, trusted my gut on that a little more.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to do because they have that, that pedigree, that championship pedigree. They've won with a lot of those players, but they brought in a lot of youth and a lot of question marks. So that's why.
I think.
What's up, Lance? Go ahead.
I was going to say I think the biggest question mark is who really takes over as the leading scorer on that team. The favorite would have to be Pascal. They did bring Scotty Barnes. He's not much of a scorer right now, but I mean, who knows? It could be Fred VanVleet or OG Anunoby, like you were saying.
Yeah. Well, Jay, one more quick thing. And this just shows me, even if it's just a brief thing, there was a press conference where Nick Nurse was asked, who's starting tonight? And he said, Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry. And he said, oh, excuse me. No, not Kyle Lowry, Goran Dragic. And that just, to me, it just shows that they're going to be missing Kyle more than a lot of people have realized. And I think that's going to be something they're going to have to work on and develop and getting an identity without Kyle Lowry as a leader. I think leader number one. And then obviously you spoke on Lance's that go-to guy as well. So that's why I'm just hesitant to put them any higher than 13.
Yeah, Jay, and you it looks like you read my show notes, Jay, because I got right here that I don't know if they got an identity. I don't know if the Raptors got an identity after Kyle Lowry's leaving. And like how we said, Jay, we were talking about the Clippers on the Western Conference preview. And what did I say? I said a team with no identity has no direction. And I think that this team, I have no identity, therefore will have no direction. And that's why I got the Raptors in my 12 seed. Lance, 12 seed, do we have an agreement again?
Who do you I actually have Washington at number 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead, talk to us.
Oh man, it's tough to say for Washington because I like Bradley Beal. I'm not a huge fan of his game, but I respect him as a player. I know what he can do on a basketball floor. I think they're going to rely a lot on Kyle Kuzma this upcoming season. I think Spencer Dinwiddie's going to be relied on. There's a lot of mouths to feed, and then you got Roy Hachimura. I don't know where he's at. I don't even know if he's even with the team right now, and he's a good player. And then they just have a lot of question marks as well, man. And they got a young coach, and I believe it's Wes Unseld Jr. Might be getting his name wrong. I apologize for that. But, they got a rookie coach coming in. They got a lot of question marks. And then they got the whole storyline of the trade rumors around Bradley Beal. Is he going to stay or are they going to trade him? That's going to be surrounding this team, and that is why they are number 12 for me. But I could easily see them as a 15, 14, or 13 seed as well.
Man, Lance, while we're talking about the Wizards, man, I got to say, while I was doing my show notes, I kept going back and forth about the Wizards because I feel you. There are so many concerns. But then when I look at the roster, I see Bradley Beal, a proven bucket getter. We all know he's one of the greatest scorers right now. We see Spencer Dinwiddie. I know he's coming off a year injury, but he can put the ball in the basket. But my biggest concern and why I have having a hard time seeing the Wizards have a good season this year is because of what you said. They're gonna have to rely on Kyle Kuzma. Let me tell you something, Lance. I'm a Lakers fan. I watched every Kyle Kuzma play since he's been on the team, and it's hard to rely on Kyle Kuzma, man. Like he'll give you a night where he's going out there, he's cutting, he's getting a lot of steals, getting a lot of breakaway layups, playing some good defense, and then next day he'll just be missing every rotation, will be late, man. So it's just that right there is where I am just. And having my biggest concern is that the fact that they're going to have to rely on Kyle Kuzma and the defense, man. The defense also in Washington is slim to none, man. So I feel you on that. I have the Wizards a bit higher, but I really do feel you on that, Lance. But Jay Hill, what's up, Lance? What's up?
Oh, I just wanted to say, I'm not I like Kyle Kuzma's game. I just don't like him as one of the top options on a team. I think your team is significantly worse if Kyle Kuzma is averaging anywhere from 16 to 20 points per game, which he's capable of doing. It's just I like him in a smaller role, and that is it. But I feel like with the Wizards, he's going to get more of an opportunity to showcase those offensive abilities, and it's not going to lead to a lot of wins for the Washington Wizards.
Yeah, man. But Jay, talk to us about who you got in that 12 seed.
Yeah, no, I got in my 12 seed. So I just want to talk about a little bit about Nick Nurse. I want to start off about Nick Nurse. So from 2013 to 2018, Nick Nurse was an assistant coach. And you know who he was an assistant coach for? Dwayne Casey, the head coach of the the head coach of the Detroit Pistons. And here's why that is important. Number one, he developed the Toronto Raptors into a contending team, brought them all the way to in 2015 or 2016 to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to, LeBron, none other than LeBron James. But the reason that's important is he inherited a young team, in the Detroit Pistons. And that's why I have them at the 12th seed with, Cade Cunningham, Killian Hayes, who I am really, really love to see the development there from those two. I feel like Killian Hayes is going to take a step in his development. Obviously, he battled with injuries, struggles last year. I think Isaiah Stort's a solid big. He's going to continue to develop as, with the role. They're believing him. They got rid of Mason Plumlee, shipped him out just because they believed in him so much. And then Sadiq Bey, who's a very underrated, and we talked about this, Lance, when we had you on the show, a very underrated player as well, who was not talked about a lot in his rookie campaign. And he did numbers. He's a great shooter, can defend as well. And I think that they're going to be competing. I think Cade is so ready to play as well. So I know I'm not going to go too much about the Detroit, but I think they're in great hands with Dwayne Casey, and they're going to be competing. They're going to be in a lot of games, I think. They may not win them all, but they're going to be either winning or learning this year. So I think they're in a good position in that 12 seed this year.
Man, and every L is a lesson, Jay. So both ways that they will be winning, man. Both ways. So all right. So then let's keep it pushing, man, and let's go to hit this 11 seed, the last seed to not make the play-in game. And that is where I got just one of my favorite teams, man, in the Eastern Conference, and that's the Hornets, man. Just such a fun team to watch. I'm upset that they're not going to make the play-in, man, but I just think they're just a bit too young right now to be able to compete with these other teams. When you look at these teams that I have above them, it's just hard to say, wow, this young team is going to be able to last an 82-game season against these seasoned vets who know what they're doing, who know when to turn it up, when to slow it down. So I just have a really, really hard time giving the Hornets that notch into the play-in. But man, did I want to, because I like that team. Miles Bridges, LaMelo, that team is exciting, man. Humbly diddly do. But Jay, talk to me about who you got in your 11 seed.
I have the Washington Wizards and my 11th seed, and so obviously we had that last 11 spot, John. Yeah. Like the same four teams, just in different order. But I think they're going to be the odd team looking out there, just because simply a lot's going to be on the shoulders of Bradley Beal, and I don't believe last year he had Russell Westbrook, who they went on that run at the end of the season in order to make the play-in game. And I feel like, as you mentioned, Kyle Kuzma, they're going to be relying on him. Spencer Dinwiddie, I like that pickup, but I don't think the supporting cast is at that level when you lose a guy like Westbrook who's putting up those stats night to night. And I think that's a glaring deficiency that they're going to be having. And honestly, for the Wizards' sake, I hope that they make the play-in game and that they're competing, because honestly, Bradley Beal is going to be looking at the door and he's going to say, hey, man, I can stay or I can leave and go to a contender and team where I have a chance to win, because I've got all the accolades. I've got the scoring titles, I've done this and that, but at the end of the day, I want to win.
Man, and Jay, just to talk a little bit about Bradley Beal, like if I'm from the third party, like looking in, I'm like, why didn't Bradley Beal make this decision like 2 seasons ago, man? Like he's just been so dominant. So man, Jay, like if they don't do something this season, like for real, if Bradley Beal might really be gone, because a lot of people in the league are like, you should have been gone. So all right, man. But Lance, who you got in that 11 seed?
Let me just say real quick, when you said Charlotte, I wrote down by their name, wow, he doesn't believe in the Charlotte Hornets, because that is not to have him in the play-in game is, wow, that's crazy, man. But, I believe in them a little bit more. But at number 11, I have Toronto. I said I could see them at 13, but I do have them at number 11. I kind of like that makeup of teams where they don't have a true superstar. They don't have a true guy that they can rely on, but they have enough guys that can shoulder the load from game to game. So that's why I like Toronto. I I have them at number 11. They're one of these teams that I think could get into the play-in game, but it depends on who steps up and becomes that true number one. It's a team that I can easily see in the bottom 3 of the Eastern Conference, but also in that play-in position to make the playoffs.
All right. So then let me go on to my 10th seed here. The team that the last team that makes this play in, man. And honestly, guys, as we've been talking, Lance been making some great points. Jay Hill, you too. And I'm looking to myself, I'm like, man, I shouldn't have put this team in the 10th seed, but I gotta say it now, dog. I have the Wizards in the 10th seed. It's definitely a mistake. I definitely shouldn't have had them there, man. But when I was looking at the list, I'm just like, man, Bradley Beal and Spencer Dinwiddie are not gonna let him go down like that. But with all the points that you guys made, man, it's convinced me, just in this little time, man, because there's a lot of glaring issues with the Wizards. Maybe I was being a little bit too optimistic when I was making my list, man.
Well, the thing with Bradley Beal is he puts up these big numbers. I think he averaged 30 a game last season. It almost seems like it's empty stats though. He has some clutch plays. He's been known to hit a few big buckets and everything. But man, when you're a 30-point scorer, your team should be in every game. When you are putting up that many points, when you are the focal point, you should be having your team in position to win almost every night. That is what I believe. If you can put up that kind of points per game and you shoulder that much of the offensive load, your team should be in position to win every night. That's just my belief with with my belief with Bradley Beal.
Yeah, man, that Bradley Beal situation is definitely sticky, man. But Jay, talk to us about who you got in that 10th seed.
The 10th seed, I'm right with Lance. The Charlotte Hornets have the rookie of the year last year, LaMelo Ball. And I think there's no question, despite that, dare I say, historic preseason loss to the Dallas Mavericks last night. I don't think that's any indication of how this regular season will go. I think that led by James Borrego, they're a great team, a great young, talented team with the additions of, Ish Smith, Kelly Oubre, to name a few. And I think that they're in the right position to be, if not the 10th seed or higher. I think that a healthy Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier elevating his scoring to another level last season, and I think he's going to take that into this season, and hopefully a full healthy season from LaMelo. There's no telling and the emergence of Miles Bridges as well. There's no telling what the Charlotte Hornets can do this season, and that's where I'm very high on what their potential for this season. But for right now, I'm going to put them as a solid 10th seed.
Man, I should have put the Hornets as my 10th seed. I don't know what I was doing. Man. All right. So then let's keep it pushing and let's go to the 9th seed, man. And that's where I gotta go with the team that surprised everybody last year, man, including myself. And that's the New York Knicks, man. That's the New York Knicks. And last year we definitely saw the emergence of the Knicks. No one saw that coming. And then this offseason, they go and pick up Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier, the solid a 1-2. We hope that RJ Barrett is going to take a huge leap this year. We hope that Julius Randle is really going to take another to be real, superstar leap, because the way he was playing last year was definitely on a star level, man. So if he can take that superstar leap and take them to the next level, that would be great. And then where I really am holding on to the Knicks is Mitchell Robinson, Nerlens Noel, Obi Toppin, man. That is a heavy front court, and they can run it so many different ways, because they're three kind of they're not extremely different players, but you can play them in many different ways, man. So I'm very, very excited about the Knicks in that front court. But Lance, you want to kick off who your 9th seed is?
Yeah, so my 9th seed is the Charlotte Hornets. They're my team at number 9. I think they finished around 10th or 9th last year. I believe in LaMelo Ball. I think he's going to take another step. I like Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier playing off. I like role players like PJ Washington and Miles Bridges. I even like Mason Plumlee. He was on Detroit last year. I think he's the perfect pick and roll, pick and pop center for LaMelo Ball. And I really like James Bouknight as well. They drafted him in the first round. He's another guy that I think once, he gets used to the NBA speed, he's going to be a real player for them. And I think they're going to be the Charlotte Hornets are going to be able to slide him right into the starting lineup. And they're going to be a team that's, going to make some noise for a handful of years going forward.
Man, okay. I like that pick. Jay, talk to us about your ninth seed.
For my ninth seed, I got a team with a lot of injury concerns, and that's the Indiana Pacers. I love the addition or the signing or whatever you want to call it of Rick Carlisle, bringing Rick Carlisle back, a coach with a championship ring there in Dallas. One of the best coaches, whatever you want to say about him, he has his flaws just like any coach, but I believe him to be one of the premier coaches in the league. He can elevate players who buy into his system to elite levels. And I think he's inheriting a great team with the likes of Malcolm Brogdon, Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis, who I talked about as a question mark of them in the front court. Can they work? How will Rick Carlisle use them? Is Miles Turner or Rick Carlisle a guy? I don't know, but that's my hesitancy in having them so low. Will TJ Warren come back? Is Karis LeVert going to be healthy? But I think at a full healthy roster, Indiana is one of the better rosters in terms of depth in the league. In the East. But for right now, I have them as the 9th seed.
Hey, what's up, Lance? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I have Indiana at number 10, and I'm with you. Health is the biggest concern. If they're healthy for the majority of the season, I know they're getting Karis LeVert back, I believe, shortly, and then I think Justin Holiday is out for a couple of weeks now. But if they can get healthy, man, this is a team that I could see easily getting inside the top 10, being like a 7th or 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. They got great experience. They got a rim protector in Miles Turner. They got a go-to guy in Sabonis. He can do a little bit of everything. He was an all-star last year. They got Malcolm Brogdon, who, he's proven he can be a 20-point scorer, but I think he's also part of the 50-40-90 club. He's an incredibly efficient guard. He can play point, play off the ball. He's a great player. Karis LeVert, I've already mentioned him. TJ Warren, he's another good scorer. We can't forget about the bubble games, the bubble massacre he put on everybody. They're a good team. But they got to stay healthy. I'm with you on that, man.
So Lance, my question for you is: you're sold on Sabonis as your one option for the Pacers?
It's kind of tough because I would love to see him. Man, I would love to see him I would love to see him play with another dominant scorer. If you had Sabonis and Bradley Beal, if you could combine the Wizards and the Pacers, right, I think that team would do really, really well. You just play Sabonis in the high post and let him facilitate and control and, just control the offense and have a guy like Bradley Beal play off of him. It would be amazing. But for a team like Indiana where they don't get a lot of superstars, I think he's the perfect number one option for him.
Okay, man. Mr. Sabonis, hey, Jay Hill, I'm a number one fan of Sabonis, man. I like Sabonis a lot.
Yeah.
But all right, man. So then let's keep it pushing, man. Let me give you my 8th seed. And that's where I have the Pacers, man. And I really wanted to put them so much higher, man. I really did. And that's because every single year they have a good roster. You guys just talked about it, man. They have their go-to guys. They have their role players. They have their rim protectors. They have their shooters. But they never put it together every single year. And it's so frustrating. But now, with the veteran coach like Rick Carlisle, I know Jay talked about his history. He's a proven winning coach. I'm just, I'm a glasses half full type guy, man. I'm just hoping that the Pacers are going to be able to put it together this year, man. And they just really got a squad. They really got a squad. And if injuries don't get in the way, I see no reason as to why they can't be an 8th seed or even higher. Lance, you said in that top 10, I could definitely see them in that top 10 as long as injuries and they don't get in their own way. But Jay, you want to talk about who you got in your 8th seed?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna. This one's gonna surprise you, or maybe it doesn't surprise you. But a team who made arguably two of the biggest pickups in the offseason, and that team is the Chicago Bulls.
Wow.
Picking up DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball. I have them at my 8th seed, and here's why. They have elite scorers, with the likes of, in the guard position, they got Zach LaVine, one of the premier young scorers in the league. They added DeMar DeRozan, the mid-range god himself, and they have Nikola Vucevic, who is an elite stretch five, can score with his back to the basket as well. And we saw his passing emerge last year as well when doubles came on him. And then they got Lonzo Ball, and added Alex Caruso as well. So I think they have a lot of nice pieces there. Billy Donovan's a great coach, but I think it's going to be a process for them. I don't think right away they're going to be winning some games. They're going to be figuring things out. So I think in the regular season, they might start slow just to get used to playing with each other. And I question leadership from that. I look at that roster and I'm just like, I don't really know who's going to be that alpha guy there. It's probably going to end up being Zach LaVine, but I think a lot of them are just quiet guys. DeMar DeRozan obviously is, more laid back, just gets the job done. Vucevic as well. But I think they're going to be a team who comes on strong at the end. And I think in playoffs, I think they're going to be a very tough out. They're extremely talented, young roster, hungry. I love the addition of Alex Caruso. I think that's a great addition as well. I've added that to the mix as well. He's proved his value with the Lakers as well. So that's why I have him at the 8th seed now. I think they're going to start off slow and then emerge as the season progresses.
If everything clicks, like you're saying, how high do you think the Chicago Bulls can get?
I think they could potentially be a top 4 seed if everything clicks.
Yes.
Top 4 or 5 seed, but I'm hesitant right now. Just I need to see them play some regular season action. So that's why I have them the 8th seed. But they're going to be, I think they can win, they're going to get out of the play-in game if they're in that position. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're higher than the 8th seed.
All right. So I agree with you, and I have them at the 8th seed. One thing that concerns me about them, rim protection. Like, I don't know if Vucevic is a good enough rim protector for him. I love his offensive game. I love Zach LaVine. He is easily one of my favorite players in the league. I love the addition of DeMar DeRozan, and not even just for, as you alluded to him, Jay Hill, as being the mid-range god. The thing I love about DeMar DeRozan, and a lot of people overlook it, how many open three-point opportunities he gives his team just by operating in the mid-range. I love the addition of Lonzo Ball. Patrick Williams is going to come back. And then the Bald Mamba, Alex Caruso, he's there as well. This is a team, I have them at the 8th seed. I was being a little safe, but I can see them as easily as the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. Also, Colby White, he's a sneaky 6th man of the year candidate. I think he is going to thrive in that role. And, it's just a good team overall. I don't really know how much I trust Billy Donovan, though, because this guy has coached some great players and hasn't gotten it done. So that he might be the weakness of this team, in my opinion, is Billy Donovan as the head coach. But overall, they've been playing great in preseason. They have a ton of guards they can throw at you, so many different lineup combinations. I expect them to play fast and hard every single night. And I hate to even say talk the Bulls up as much as I am, considering I'm a Pistons fan. But, yeah, the Bulls have been good. They've looked good so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And honestly, for the thing with the Bulls is it's such a I know we need to see it, on paper and in actual practice is two different things. But, man, when you look at it on paper, the team really fits and it really works out. DeMar is going to open up so many, like how you said, Lance, going to open up so many 3-point shots for a lethal 3-point shooter in Zach LaVine. We know Kobe White also has that strap on him too, man. So it'll definitely be a really exciting year for the Bulls. I don't have them in the 8th seed, but we'll get there. We'll get there, man. So here we go. Guys, I have to ask you guys this. Is my 7th seed a hot take? Because look at this, guys. I have the Boston Celtics on the 7th seed.
Okay. Oh my gosh. There are some people that will say it's a hot take, but I have them right around 7 as well. Like don't, it's weird for Boston because they have all the banners, the pedigree. Mm-hmm. You hear the name Jason Tatum, mm-hmm. You hear the name Jaylen Brown, but that's all they got. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Al Horford's a little older. I like Marcus Smart in the role that he is, but he is who he is. Robert Williams hasn't taken that step offensively. They just signed Enes Kanter over the offseason. He's a liability defensively. They're with a new coach. Brad Stevens has taken a step back, and now he's up in the front office. I don't know. And then they just signed Dennis Schroeder as well, who's made some head-scratching decisions the past couple of off seasons. But yes, and for some people that is a hot take, but man, I agree with you that they're the 7th seed.
Lance, I'm so happy that you agreed, dog, because I was writing this up. I was like, should I even say this on the podcast? Like, am I going to get flamed by everyone? But nah, dog. Like when I look at their team, like, you know, I see that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, 2 absolute great individual players. I mean, I agree. Jason Tatum's a great player, but I mean, look at the way Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown score. They dribble. I'll create my own shot. I mean, as basketball players, we know players who are just dribbling. What are the other 4 players doing? Standing around and watching you. That's not real basketball. That's not a top 5 seed in the East basketball, man. And Lance, like how you mentioned, you know, they added Dennis Schroeder. I'm a Lakers fan. Unfortunately, I just had to watch him for an entire year. And that's what he does too. He isn't a Klay Thompson type player where he can just be so good without the ball. Like, no, he needs the ball in his hands to be able to impact the game positively. So does Jaylen Brown and so does Jason Tatum. So now you got 3 players just in the starting lineup who, in my opinion, are the same type of scorers with only 1 ball in the court. To me, man, that is just like problems. I just see huge problems. And like how you said, Lance, a 36-year-old Al Horford starting for an 82-game season, I don't know how long he's going to last. I'm just having a really hard time seeing the Celtics team being any higher, though. What's up, Lance?
So the one thing that concerns me about Boston is I don't know who – I mean, I know Dennis Schroeder will plug in as the point guard, but they need a real facilitator, someone that can control the offense. Their best facilitator on the team is Al Horford, and he's 36 years old. Do you really want the ball going through him at this stage of his career? I would have loved to see Boston. I know they got Peyton Pritchard. I don't think he's ready to take on that role as lead man for the point guard spot, but in my opinion, they need a point guard, a guy that can facilitate and run the offense. But I really want to be I just want to say something too. I actually have them as the 6th seed, but I could flip my 7th and 6th real easily, you know, with Boston. But I do agree with you. I do think that they're closer as a 6 or 7 seed than they are in the top 4.
Guys, real quick, Jay, just one last thing. You know, a couple of years ago, the East was a joke. A couple of years ago, this is a good enough team to land you a top 5 seed in the East, but the East is not a joke no more, man. So that's really, and with all those reasons and with the fact that the East has got so much better, Celtics bumped down. But what's up, Jay? My fault.
I think my 6 and 7 are flippable, but a team I got lower is a team who made a 20-win jump last year. And this team, call me a hater, call me ignorant, but I consider myself a realist. And the New York Knicks overachieved last season. And the reason is Tom Thibodeau played his guys into the ground. And that was evident when they played the Atlanta Hawks. They ran out of gas. You could say it was this game plan, call it what you want. I just saw a team that ran out of gas when it came down to it. A team whose best player, Julius Randle, you could say he had no options, but you could see the shots that he hit throughout the regular season. You could say it was the schemes, but I think he just ran out of gas. And Tom Thibodeau is known for running his guys into the ground. And I have no reason to believe that it will be any different this season. He sticks to his guns. He's stubborn about that. And I think I love the additions of Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier. Don't get me wrong. And obviously, hopefully they're healthy. They have a healthy Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel. I like their emergence of RJ Barrett, I might add as well. But I think they just overachieved last season to the point where I think it's going to be hard to replicate and top the way that what they did last season. So that's why I have them at the 7th seed for right now.
So I actually have them at the 7th seed as well. And they're a team, man, I'm with you. They're a team that I think I do think they overachieved a little bit last year. You know, they were good defensively. They had a hard time putting up points. Julius Randle, he's one of my favorite players in the league. I'm a huge fan of his. But, man, he hesitated so much in the playoffs. And I don't know who else they rely on. Derrick Rose is getting up there in age. But, I mean, his game, you know, he still played pretty well. Hopefully RJ Barrett, you know, continues to make that emergence and become that better player that we all think he can be. Kemba Walker's a nice addition. He has some knee issues. But, you know, I mean, Mitchell Robinson, Nerlens Noel, see how they play. Obi Toppin. I believe Taj Gibson is still in the team getting minutes. And, I think they're going to miss the shooting of Reggie Bullock on this team a lot. He opens up the floor for, a guy like Julius Randle to do his thing. New York, I have them at number 7. It's not firm. I feel like I should have wrote it with a pencil so I could have erased it. But, yeah, this is a team. I see them no higher than 7, but I can see them much lower than 7 as well.
Okay. I like that. I like that Knicks in number 7, man. But all right, so then let's keep it moving, man. Let's get to my 6th seed. And I don't even know if this is a hot take anymore, guys. Like, this team has had so much drama this offseason. I got the 76ers. The 76ers. Call me crazy. Call me whatever. I know they were the number 1 seed last year. But let's look at this. The Ben Simmons, this Ben Simmons saga wasn't the issue last year. That wasn't the problem. And if you take away, if you take away Ben Simmons, I know Ben Simmons said, and now he said he's going to come back, which that's a whole nother discussion. That's just like the worst decision he could have made. Like, he publicly shamed, they rejected them, they came back, whatever. But basically, if you take Ben Simmons out of the 76ers, in my opinion, they're a significantly worse team. They would have not got that number 1 seed last year if they did not have Ben Simmons. And so I know that and believe that in my heart. And then I look to myself, I say, what other NBA GM? Because yes, Ben Simmons is offensively limited, but he's a great defensive player, man. He brings so much on defense, right? So you would have, if you're trading for Ben Simmons, you would have to give something up of value. You would have to give some, maybe not the biggest value, but you would have to give something up. And my question I asked myself, what NBA GM is happy with giving up something of value, getting a player who is not playable in the playoffs? We just saw this. He cannot play in the playoffs. Teams know how to scheme against him. So I am having a hard time seeing the Sixers be able to do anything. If Ben Simmons comes back, okay, chemistry is a real thing. He just publicly rejected his entire team. If I was his teammate, I'm definitely feeling iffy about that, right? I'm definitely feeling, especially if that's supposed to be my best player, the second best player on the team, my leader. So I have a lot of doubts about 76ers because is Ben Simmons just going to hold out all season? Are they going to get a trade? It's just up in the air, and that's why they fell to my 6th seed. I know it sounds crazy, y'all, but talk to me about your 6th seed, Lance.
So my 6th seed is Boston, just because they have a rookie head coach. Brad Stevens has stepped down. I love Jason Tatum. I love Jaylen Brown. I love both their games. I just don't know if they're enough to get them any higher than the 6th seed this season.
Okay. Jay, what's up with the 6th seed?
Yeah, I'm right there with Lance. I got the Boston as my 6th seed. Not too sold on Udoka as, coming into his rookie year. It's just adjustments. It's going to be a season of adjustments for him. Obviously, Al Horford, they've made it clear, or I think the starting lineups is going to be Horford and Robert Williams at the 4 and the 5 respectively. But I don't believe in Dennis Schroeder as, their playmaker that they need. We saw what happened with the Lakers. Obviously, you can mark that up as injuries, but I don't think he was the point guard for them. We saw at times he wasn't even on the floor because they didn't have a distributor. So then you is Jason Tatum gonna take that leap as the player we all know he can be? Obviously, you saw the flashes. If he's on and he's locked in and he's giving that effort on both ends of the floor, no one in the league is stopping him. But is he gonna do it consistently? I don't know. I'm still not sold on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum as a pair as well. So that's why I have my doubts, and that's why I have them in the 6th seed.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to this risky territory, man. This is top 5 territory. So let me go ahead and kick off my number 5th seed. And that, unfortunately, guys, I really wanted to put them higher, but I just can't, is the Atlanta Hawks, man. I really wanted to put the Hawks higher. They're such a good young team. They got such a good, talented young core. But the problem is, if you look at these, or at least on my list, and in my opinion, if you look at these 4 teams above them, I just can't realistically tell you that the Hawks are going to have a better season than them. So I genuinely have no reason besides that the East got so much better that the Hawks had to fall to the 5th seed, man. But Lance, you're not looking like you agree with me on this one.
No, I'm not, because I actually have the Hawks a little higher at my. And I got. Oh, don't worry, I'll get there, and I'm gonna share my points when I get to the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
But number 5, I have the Miami Heat. That might be a surprise to some people. I actually wanted to put them higher, but then I see the 4 teams that I have above them, and I'm like, there's no way. There's no way I can have them any higher. I believe defense wins. Miami is very good. They're a very deep team. They just added Kyle Lowry into that starting lineup. I love Bam Adebayo. I love Duncan Robinson. He played for the University of Michigan. I watched him for a long time. I love this team. I think this year too, Tyler Hero has a bounce back season, and I think he really solidifies himself as one of the premier young players again. And he puts himself in contention for the 6th man of the year as well. I think big things for Miami this year. The only thing that is stopping me from putting them any higher is I love Jimmy Butler. I love his game. I just don't know if he's the guy you want to rely on, game in and game out as to be your number 1 scorer. And I don't know if Bam can do it. I don't know if Kyle Lowry is up for it either, but someone has to step up offensively for Miami in order for me to move them up higher. But right now they are firmly number 5.
All right. What's up, Jay Hill?
Yeah, I don't have the Hawks or the Heat at my 5 seed. At my 5 seed, I'm playing the waiting game, and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And I'm waiting on Ben Simmons to return to Philadelphia and play basketball, because if Ben Simmons comes back, I think we're going to see, and I believe we're going to see a different Ben Simmons, a Ben Simmons who's locked in. And it's hard to say. It's hard for me to sit here and say this, but I think he's going to take that step and be locked in and a player that they can rely on, because he has a lot of proving to do to his teammates, to his organization, to the city of Philadelphia, who loves basketball and is totally invested in that team. And he's going to understand that if he has any desire to play for the Sixers, he knows it's going to come at a cost, and it's going to come at a cost where he's going to have to, sacrifice his pride. He's going to get booed, and he just has to accept that. But I believe that they're bringing back, most of the same players. I love Tyrese Maxey as a emerging player in his 2nd year. Obviously, they've got the 2nd place finisher and votes of the MVP, Joel Embiid, who wants an MVP as well, and he knows the only way he's going to be able to do that is if the team's successful. So, and Doc Rivers, he's a championship coach, regardless of his past, few seasons in the league, with the Clippers. His stint there wasn't successful, or, I would label it as that. And then with Philadelphia, he's had kind of, a shaky go of it. But I think this year they might all come together to get a 5th seed and potentially higher if everything works out. And then also look to them to be aggressive. If they bring in Ben and they realize, hey, this isn't working out, maybe they're going to call on Portland and say, hey, Dame, you're struggling over there. We want to get rid of Ben over here. And if they get Dame, I don't know. But that's enough of that. But I'm saying with their current roster, they're the 5th seed.
Who do you think Philly chooses, Doc Rivers or Ben Simmons? If Ben Simmons says, I'll come back, you got to get rid of Doc, you think Philly does it, or do you think Philly just lets Simmons go?
What's up, Jay? What do you think?
I think they're keeping Doc, honestly.
I think they keep Ben. And the reason why I think they keep Ben is because I think that the NBA since like 2011, 2012 has become a real player-ran league. And I think that they're going to be like, all right, Doc, well, you could just go. We'll find another coach. We won't find another Ben.
Well, I should say this. Actually, it won't come down to either Doc or Ben. I think they made it clear that Joel Embiid is the centerpiece, and that franchise goes what he says goes. So if he wants to keep Doc, Ben's gone. If he wants to keep Ben, Ben's staying. That's what I think it will ultimately come down to. So I shouldn't say that it's Doc or Ben. I think it's what Joel wants.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
This might be a hot take, but I think Doc Rivers is fired before Ben Simmons is traded.
Ooh.
That's my hot take for the podcast.
Oh, I like that one, man.
I like that. And I can't say, oh, no way. That's a realistic thing that might happen.
At this point in Philadelphia, guys, there's nothing that's like out of the possibility. Like I did not think Ben Simmons was going to return, and then all of a sudden he returned. Nothing's out of the possibility.
It's a movie right now.
It's just a movie for real, man.
Oh,
all right,
man.
So then let's keep it pushing, man, and let's talk about this 4th seed. And honestly, guys, you starting to make me doubt myself. I have the Bulls, and you guys have the Bulls in the 8th seed, guys. Man, look at this, guys. I really wanted to. To be real with you, I put them here because, like how we said, the on paper roster, and when you look at it on paper, it also fits, man. Because I mean, like look at this. For the start of the season, they're gonna have a starting lineup of Lonzo Ball, who's gonna be the point guard with the orchestrating, running all that. Zach LaVine, a proven bucket getter that really anywhere on the court. DeMar DeRozan, man, if you get to the hoop, and like how you said, Lance, he opens up, creates shots for so many other people just by him being on the court, just by his presence out there. Patrick Williams, who in my opinion, is going to take a huge leap this year. I liked him a lot in the Bulls, and there's a thing to be said when there's great players around. When you're playing with great players, you rise to that level and you play to that level. And I think that's being around all these great players is going to help Patrick Williams a lot. And then Vooch, man, Vooch is a great offensive player. Gives me a lot of defensive concerns, a lot of defensive questions, but offensively, man, I think that this is going to be one of those teams that just comes out there and just tries to outscore you, man. Just tries to straight up outscore you. And Kobe White too. I've got to mention my boy Kobe White because he was a starting guard for the Bulls last year, man. So now you bring him off the bench. I think that this is going to definitely, in my opinion, he's in my pick for early pick for the 6th man of the year. I think he's going to have a huge year, man. So that's why I had to go with the Bulls in the 4th seed. But I know you guys don't have that. So, Lance, who do you got in the 4th seed?
So we've talked about them a lot, but I got Philadelphia at number 4. I think Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, I think they work it out. They're pros. They both just want to win. I think that's what it comes down to. Danny Green, I think it was today or yesterday that he said something along the lines of, yeah, we'll accept him. And, as long as he just comes in, handles his business, be a pro, we're cool with it. If he wants to apologize, fine. If he doesn't, whatever. We're just here to play basketball. Something along those lines. So, I think Philly is going to be – I think they're going to have their hiccups. I think there are going to still be some problems in the locker room. I don't know if Doc Rivers is the coach to get them over the hump. I mean, he is a good coach. I'll give him that. He has the championship with the 08 Celtics. He did all right with the Clippers as well. But I don't know if Doc Rivers is the guy that can manage those personalities and manage that team to get them deep into the playoffs.
Okay. So let me ask you this then, Lance. If the 76ers go, all right, Ben Simmons, feel free to come back. Do you still have them in the 4th seed, or do you have them higher? If they're like, all right, Ben Simmons, let's work it out. We'll talk about it. We're all good.
Oh no, I projected them. This 4th seed is with Ben Simmons. That's how I projected them to be. If they don't have Ben Simmons, with Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris and Maxey taking another step, I believe they could still hover around that 4th seed. But I think with Ben Simmons, they're for sure a 4th seed. And really, I still think they're a team, they have enough talent where they can climb even higher. But 4th seed for me right now.
Okay. All right. What's up, Jay? What about you? Who's in the 4th seed?
No, just real quick to your 4th seed, John. I think just for the Bulls, from a Bulls standpoint, a team who hasn't made the playoffs since 2017, I think we got to hold the ship right for a little second. Just make the playoffs first, and then we'll talk. That's why I think that's a little too high. But I will say, I got in my 4th seed, I got a team who shocked the world, but I believed in them. And know who this team is.
I know who it is.
I got the Atlanta Hawks, a team who, when I look up and down their roster, I really don't see any glaring deficiencies. I think they have the shooting. I think defensively, they've got a star in Trae Young. They've got a breakout star in John Collins. They've got the confidence from beating last year, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, knocking off the Knicks, who are a higher seed, then taking out the Sixers, which I predicted. I'm just going to throw that out there. I got the receipts too. But I just think that the Hawks are ready. They're poised to make that in the next run. They've got that confidence, like I mentioned, in their belt. They got that swagger. They're so deep. They have Nate McMillan, who's a great coach. He's instilled that confidence in his players. and he's made that clear. He's got Bogdanovich, who is going to be healthy, hopefully, for the whole season. They got Clint Capella, who's a great, rim running. I mean, that combination between Trae Young and Clint Capella, I mean, it's just unreal. And then you throw John Collins into the mix, who extended his range and can shoot the three. And I mean, he's just dunking on everybody. He had the dunk of the year, man. He's dunking on everybody. But I think the Hawks are just only going up. DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish on the wings, Kevin Huerter. I mean, I could go on about the Hawks, but for now I have them at the 4th seed. But don't be surprised if they end up higher than that.
Man, Jay, honestly, I really want to debate that, but there's just nothing to debate, dog. Like, they are really, they're that, man. In my opinion, just the East just got better, man. But Jay, you're right, dog. Like, there's not really too many glaring effects, man. Honestly, I'm excited to see the Hawks this next year, dog. It's gonna be dope, man. All right, so then let's keep it pushing, man, and let me go to my 3rd seed. And honestly, guys, besides the Bulls, this team had the best offseason, guys. This team had the best offseason. They were the number 6 seed last year in this crazy COVID year, right? And they had all these problems. In this offseason, they addressed every single problem that they had last year. They added, I'm talking about the Miami Heat for those that ain't caught on. I'm talking about the Miami Heat, right? They added a shooter in Kyle Lowry. Also, he's also going to bring backcourt defense. Tyler Hero, great guy, cool guy, dope dude, terrible defender, right? They don't have any defenders over there. Kyle Lowry is a pit bull, man. Like, that's what he's known for. They bring in PJ Tucker. The Heat's organization is, if I could pick one person who would embody, it would most likely be around like a PJ Tucker, man. Just I'm gonna die on this floor if I have to, and let's go at it and do whatever it takes. And then you add another dog like that in Markieff Morris, man. And that just, to me, it really rounds out the team, adds adds shooting, adds defense, adds vets, adds just that dog mentality. And at the end of the day, man, I know it was in a bubble, I know it was whatever, people call it asterisk. They still made it to the finals, dog. And they know what it takes to get there. And like how you said, Lance, when you were talking about the Heat, defense wins championships, and that's what that the Heat are just harping on, dog. So I know it may sound crazy, a 3rd seed, but I definitely got the Miami Heat in my 3rd seed. Lance, talk to me about who you got in that 3rd seed.
I want to say 2 real quick. I forgot about PJ Tucker in Miami. He is a great addition, adds a lot of versatility. There's so many different combinations they can do with those lineups. They also still have Victor Oladipo, which I completely forgot about. And, he's a guy who's coming back off an injury. He's going to be looking to get paid this next offseason. Watch for him to have a bounce back year. But number 3 for me, oh, man, you had him at J Hill. You had him at number 4. I have him at number 3, the Atlanta Hawks. They are a team that they didn't really lose anybody other than Chris Dunn and Tony Snell. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. But Atlanta, they have experience now getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. Trae Young is one of the best young players in the NBA. He was one of 2 guys under 25 that I would have gave that number 1 overall pick up for. Just him and Luka Doncic. Trae Young, he is great. John Collins took it to another level, like you guys were saying. He's dunking on everybody. He's a legit 20-8 guy in the NBA. Clint Capella, rim running. Bogdanovich, Kevin Huerter hitting threes. The biggest X factor, though, for me this year is Cam Reddish for them. I think he's about to have a huge leap and have a breakout year. I mean, I think they already got their big 3 on that team, John Collins, Trae Young, and Cam Reddish. And I'm not going to sleep on the rookie Sharif Cooper. He was a great pickup in the second round. That dude can play. Atlanta, I don't know what – I'm telling people right now, in your podcast, whoever wants to hear it, they're going to be the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference this year, unless a ton of injuries take them out. This is one of the teams that I think everybody is sleeping on. Don't sleep on them. They're going to go far this year in the Eastern Conference.
Oh, man, I like that hot take. That was a bold take, Lance. I like that.
Appreciate it.
No, Lance, I wouldn't even consider that a hot take, honestly, John. To counter
that,
I
not
think,
a hot take like that. Not a hot take like that's unlikely to happen. Like, that's just bold. He put it on wax.
No. You said it. You said it. Own it. But no, I think, like I said before, with the Hawks, they're a team who could be a top 3 seed. And you just further alluded to that, Lance. And I forgot about Sharif Cooper. They needed a backup point guard bad. We saw last year when Trae Young went out, they really didn't have that guy who could step in and run the show like him. And Sharif Cooper, man, he's looking like a steal, like you mentioned in that second round out of Auburn. But I will say in my 3rd seed, I got the Miami Heat. Like John, you were right. I'm right there with you with Kyle Lowry adding that championship pedigree guard, the guy they needed to run that offense, and then you mix that with Jimmy Butler, who they're friends, and then Bam Adebayo at the 5. I think defensively, I don't really see it as that much of a question mark because we've seen what Kyle Lowry can do to guys who are bigger than him. He's just pure heart, pure grit. He's going to get in you. He's going to take that charge. He's going to dive on loose ball. And I think that's just going to rub off on the other guys, the young guys, even Tyler Hero, who we saw the bubble Hall of Famer, Tyler Hero. I think we're going to see him take a leap as well. He said that he's right there, at that quote, that he's right there with the young guys in the league. And I truly believe that he can get to that. He had a tough year, battled through some injuries this past season. And I think he's going to focus on the right things this year, and I'm hoping that he can do that. And then Vic Oladipo, if he can stay healthy and get back to the Heat, they're going to be a tough out in the Eastern Conference. And don't be surprised if they take a team like Brooklyn or the Nets or a team in the playoffs to the brink, and maybe even beat them if things go the right way, if they see a hobbled Brooklyn or any other team in the playoffs as well.
Man, the Miami Heat are to be on watch, man, especially with everything you guys talk about. And I just got to double back on Vic, because I also forgot about Vic, man. He had this last year where he just was hurt, man. But we remember what Pacers Vic looked like. That is a star player on the team. So you add that to a team already full of stars, the Heat are scary.
Are the Miami Heat dark horse Eastern Conference Finals teams for you guys?
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Right there with the Atlanta Hawks, though, man.
Yeah, I think, man, Miami and Atlanta, those are going to be 2 scary teams this year. They're going to be tough teams, and I think a lot of basketball fans are going to be sleeping on them this year.
Man, oh man.
Right there with our 2 seeds, because at this point it's just a matter of the order. I think all of us have the same top 2 seeds. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, man. But I don't know if you guys have my number 2 seed, dog. I really don't know. And honestly, guys, for my number 2 seed, I went with the Nets. I know, the Nets were number 1 seed. But guys, let's. I just felt wrong putting the Nets over the Bucks, our last year's champion, just because of 3 good players who now become 2 good players that haven't even really played 20 games, like NBA games together, right? Like chemistry is a real thing. KD, greatest scorer of all time, not a single debate. James Harden, absolutely great player. But I mean, that's so disrespectful to the Bucks, who just won a championship, right? Like, call it what you want. If Kyrie wouldn't have got hurt, they wouldn't have won. It doesn't matter. You play who's in front of you. And they did that, man, and they earned the championship. And for me to put the Nets above them just because of KD, Kyrie, and James Harden, who Kyrie's not going to play, and James Harden and KD ain't even – I mean, they played back in the day. They played back in the day, but this is 10 years later, dog. Things change. That's why I got to go with the Nets for the number 2 seed, man. It's just too much drama. There's too much drama. I'm over it, honestly, with the Nets. But Jay, talk to me about who you got in your number 2 seed.
No, I think a lot of those things you mentioned, John, are correct about the Nets. A lot of drama, a lot of BS. But I got the Bucks, a team who in the regular season is going to have whether they like it or not, they're going to have a target on their back. They just came off a championship. They got one of the best players in the game in Giannis. And whether he likes it or not, they got a target. After you win a ring, you got a target on your back. But I will say the confidence that comes with that after winning a ring, with Middleton, with Drew Holiday, with Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, and the rest of the crew, adding Dante DiVincenzo back into the mix coming off injury this season, I think they're going to be poised to make a strong run, and they're going to have that all the confidence in the world to do so. They're going to be a top two seed in the East, and 1-2 is really floppable for me. Obviously, I have the Nets at 1, but they're Budenholzer. I'm hesitant to like, he has the success of the past finals. Will he stick to what got him there and what won the ring, or will he go back to his old ways? Because I've had a concern with the adjustments and the game plans he goes with previously, and then he stuck to what worked, and that's why they ended up ultimately winning the title. But who knows if he goes back to his old ways? But I have the Bucks as a very, very semi 2, but they could end up being the 1 if things fall right too.
Okay, what about you, Lance?
So number 2, I have the Brooklyn Nets. I can't put anybody above Milwaukee. I'll get to that in a second. But Brooklyn, for me, KD and Harden, they are, I mean, man, you lose Kyrie, but I mean, they're still scary, you know, and I think the offense is better without Kyrie Irving. I love James Harden as a facilitator and a scorer. KD, I'm right with you, man. He is the greatest scorer of all team. There is no debate in my mind. He can do it from everywhere. I like the additions they made. I like bringing in a guy like Paul Millsap. He's a veteran. He knows his role. There's still a little game left to him. The only problem is, after you get out of those, I won't even count Kyrie just because he won't be playing this year. But after KD and Harden, it's a big drop-off in talent. They're a very top-heavy team. So I have them at number 2. But if anything happens to KD or Harden, this is a team that I don't think they live up to the potential just because they're so top-heavy. I don't know who picks – they don't need just one person to pick up the slack scoring because you have so much coming from Harden and KD. But each and every night they're going to need someone else to pick up the scoring that is without, because they don't have Kyrie anymore. I don't know who it's going to be. I know it's not going to be one player. It's going to be someone new every single night. I don't know if you can win games that way without having that third guy, that third option solidified, someone that you can go to when KD and Harden are out, whether they're on the bench or whatever. It's going to be tough for Brooklyn this year, even though they got 2 Hall of Famers on their team, even without Kyrie Irving.
Then, my number 1 seed is pretty clear. I think we've all could do the math here, and that we understand that it's the Milwaukee Bucks, man. I just like how you said, Lance. I just have a hard time putting the Nets, a team that hasn't, they have great players on paper. They have great players that are doing it. But I need to see it. Man. And I saw it with the Bucks. So I just have a hard time putting the Nets over the Bucks because of players who hasn't proven to us at that NBA level yet. But Lance, talk to me about why you can't put the Nets over the Bucks.
Man, it's, they got their big 3. They got Giannis, who is the modern day Shaq, whether people want to accept that or not. They got Chris Middleton. If you look at his box scores, he's a lot like J.R. Smith in that he never gets to his averages. Either he's above him or below him. But man, the dude comes up clutch no matter what at the end of games. Drew Holiday, love him in that role as the third option. He's one of the best defenders at that guard position. He's good offensively. You have Dante DiVincenzo. You have Grayson Allen, who they just added. They got Bobby Portis, Brooke Lopez, who has, modified his game to be able to play in today's NBA. They also added Rodney Hood. He's a little inconsistent, but when he gets going, he's good. This is just a deep team now. Even though they lost PJ Tucker, who I think is a huge piece, I do think someone can step up in his role that is currently on this team. But Milwaukee, even though they lost PJ Tucker, they didn't lose that much. And they also added George Hill. Forgot him. They also added him into the offseason. I think somehow the Milwaukee Bucks got better despite losing PJ Tucker. And that's why they're my number 1 team.
Okay. So, Jay, talk to us about why you had to put the Nets over the Bucks.
It's one reason. One reason only. They have, who he is. We all know who he is. And that's the Slim Reaper. That's Kevin Durant. They have Kevin Durant, who I think is the best player in the world right now. And in Game 7, let's not forget what happened. A hobbled Brooklyn Nets team with an injured James Harden. Call it what you want. He was not James Harden. The guy was throwing up bricks. And we saw a team who went toe-to-toe with the champions and was an inch away from being in the championship themselves. And I find it hard to believe with a healthy team, regardless of what happens to Kyrie, you want to throw him into the mix even better. I think they will be the number 1 seed in the East in the regular season and go on to the title if they have a healthy James Harden and Kevin Durant, regardless of, what happens with Kyrie. If he's added to the mix, like you guys already mentioned, to my point, he's one of the best scorers, greatest scorers of all time. So if you add one of the greatest scorers of all time to two of the greatest scorers of all time themselves, James Harden and Kevin Durant, there's no stopping them. And adding to the mix, Patty Mills, who I think was a great addition off the bench, might take some pressure off Joe Harris. But I think we need to see Joe Harris take that step in the playoffs. He was a great player in the regular season, but when they needed him most in the playoffs, he didn't hit the shots that he needed to hit. He was, awful. And as Doug came on our show and talked about as well, Joe Harris and the guys around them, Blake Griffin included, and some other role players. We've seen the emergence of Bruce Brown as well, who I'd like to throw in there. But I think the Nets, with 2 of the top 5 players in the game right now, are going to be a tough out and are going to be at the top of the East. But they'll be toe-and-toe with the Bucks, don't get me wrong. But I think they're going to finish at the top of the East and eventually go on to win the championship. And it's title or bust this year as well. So they got pressure on them.
Okay, Jay, let me. What's up, Lance? Go ahead.
Oh no, go on. I'll ask after this.
No,
after your thought.
I just had a question, Jay. So me and Lance, we both talked about our concerns when it comes to the Nets being so top heavy, right? Like we know Kyrie's so far, as far as today, as far as October 14th, Kyrie's say he's not. Nash just came out and said, if you're not going to be part of this team, the full part of the team, then don't be part of the team. So then it's going to be a KD and a James Harden. So let me ask you, Jay, if a KD goes down with minor injury, a little ankle, or James Harden goes down with a little ankle, just some, not the hugest thing. They'll be back in a couple of weeks. How do you feel about the Nets then? Because then it's just it's a one-way team. It's just KD or just James Harden. And how do you feel about them being able to hold up? And does that concern you as far as like the drop off? Will they'll climb down that rankings from whether if they were at 1, James Harden gets hurt? Do you have any concern with there?
No, I've seen Kevin Durant carry a team on his back with a lesser supporting cast in the Warriors. I've seen it firsthand.
What year?
When there was times when Clay, when Steph was out, man.
But they still had Clay. They still had Draymond. Come on.
There's times when 2 of them were out, and it was the other 2.
82-game season.
Hey.
82-game season.
Let me answer your question. Let me answer your question. Kevin Durant can carry a team on his back. Rest assured. With he can carry the load in the Eastern Conference, guaranteed. And James Harden, we've seen what he can do with a not so talented squad in Houston. A team of let's be honest, like role players aside from Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook. So he's obviously survived and thrived with a lesser roster as well. And I think that both of them can do it. Obviously, if an injury happens to either one of them, if an injury happens to Giannis, what are the Bucks going to do? Anything can be said for that.
They're not so top heavy. The Bucks they have other players down the line that if Giannis goes down, yes, that's going to hurt any team. The best player goes down, but you don't get hurt as much as far as with the Nets. If a KD goes down for a little bit, it is just a James Harden out there. That's the point that me and Lance are talking about with as far as they might drop down.
Give me James Harden over Chris Middleton any day of the week. Give me Kevin Durant over Drew Holiday any day of the week. If we're going to the next best guy on the Bucks, if that's how you're lining it up.
Okay, but agreed. But a basketball team isn't 2 people; it's 5, and the Nets have realistically two real options that are going to play this year. If Kyrie played, 3 real options.
I got a question. Okay, so let's say James Harden or Kevin Durant go down. I'm not asking, I'll ask both of you actually. You guys can both answer this because I'm curious and I'll give my thoughts. If one of them goes down, we'll just say, let's say James Harden, let's say he has a hamstring injury like he did last year, it reoccurs and he goes out for a number of games. Where do you see Brooklyn? I still see them in the playoffs. I'm with you, Jay. I think Kevin Durant can carry a team. I don't think individually alone with the roster the way it is without James Harden and Kyrie Irving that Brooklyn is a number 1 seed. But where do you see them in the playoff order? Where do you see them 1 through 8 with just KD as the number 1 guy?
With just KD.
Go ahead, Jay.
No, let's just put it. Well, I'm saying with a healthy roster with James Harden and Kevin Durant, they are the 1 seed. So to answer your question, John, well, that's just a caveat. But to answer that, if one of them goes out, I see them as a 4 or 5, the top 4 seed, 5 seed. If one of them goes down, I think they are the caliber of players to be that in my mind.
Yeah. That's definitely where I would have him, and that's even as to why I have him in my 2nd seed, man, is because if that does happen, if it was just one of them out there, I do think that they were dropped anywhere from that 3 to 5 seed, man. So that's why. But what about you, Lance? Where would you think they would land if they had only one of those?
So if they just had Kevin Durant, I see them no higher than the 4th seed with that team, and that is giving Kevin Durant a ton of praise. It's just, I look at this roster without a James Harden, without a Kyrie Irving. And I mean, none of us hope that happens. We want to see all these teams be healthy for the season. But for the sake of conversation, if Kevin Durant was just the only guy and KD, because we already know Kyrie's out. If James Harden goes down, I can see KD leading this team to the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. In years prior, I could have seen him lead them to the number 1 team, but this East is loaded. We've already talked about that a ton on this podcast. So I will say, to answer my own question, Brooklyn would be the 4th seed if they just had Kevin Durant. But I got a question for you guys. Is this the last time? Do you think we see Kyrie Irving play again in a Brooklyn Nets uniform this season or next season? Or do you think his time in Brooklyn is done?
That's a loaded question there, Larry.
Well, because they said they weren't going to extend him this offseason. Right, so I'm just wondering what your guys' thoughts are.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge question for them. But I ultimately think they got to be a little fed up there in Brooklyn.
I have to.
KD brought Kyrie over. Obviously, they have a good friendship. Harden's good friends with the both of them. And they brought them over for a reason. And that's to win an NBA championship. And if he's not adding to the mix, it's hard to say that he's going to stay or they have any reason to keep him. Because at the end of the day, you can have your friendships. You can have, you can be the best of friends off the court. But at the end of the day, we've seen teams have made it clear it's a business. And if you're not adding to the win total or you're not adding to the culture, which – as much as I love Kyrie as a player, he's had his question marks. Does he want to play basketball? I don't know. I know he has his belief, and I'm not talking about that. But is he going to help to the Brooklyn Nets winning basketball games? And if he's not, I think he could be on his way out, to answer your question.
Yeah, to answer your question, Lance, I think that he wants to. Now, I'm thinking about the question. I was like, man, he might come back like Ben Simmons and this and that. But as I'm thinking about it, man, like, first of all, I mean, we know Kyrie's so stubborn. He's set on what he's doing. But also when we look at like the state mandate, like they're not going to move it for, like if it was an NBA rule, like, okay, but it's a state mandate. They're not going to move it for Kyrie. And at this point, if they give Kyrie any special treatment, the rest of the players in the league are going to be tripping. They're going to be like, what is the deal? You're going to give Kyrie a special treatment. He's the only one that can do this. So in my opinion, man, I think that the Brooklyn Nets are going to realize, like, you know what, like, Kyrie's great, but he's bringing way too many problems, way too much attention. Like last year, when he left for his mental health break, man, I'm with it. I'm with the mental health break. I'm with all of that, dog. But my problem is, how are we gonna find a video of you in the club dancing, right? Like you're not showing up to practice, you're not hitting nobody up, and then we're gonna see a video of you dancing in the club and then you're going to explain and say I was on a mental health break. Like that pissed me off. If I'm the Nets owner, right? If I'm the Nets, I'm like, bro, what are you doing? You know, they gave up so much to have him there. They could have gone after so many other players. So I just to me, nah, man.
So my thing is, like, I get it. Like all the stuff he does off the court, like he bought backpacks for a ton of kids. He paid for college for, I think, 9 students. He's done some incredible things off the floor, but strictly basketball speaking, and really just in sports, if you're a professional athlete, people will put up with you as long as you can continue to produce on the floor. But in Kyrie Irving's case, you're not producing on the floor. So I don't expect Brooklyn to re-sign him. And I don't even know if Brooklyn can actually trade him, because even though he is talented, but what all three of us have said, like, he's kind of a headache, as a player, as a teammate, and he's kind of a problem. And I don't see Brooklyn putting up with it. Like they're obviously not, by telling him, hey, if you can't fully participate, we're not going to allow you around team facilities. I think his teammates are like, man, we need you. This is playoff championship or bust. We don't have you. So this kind of ends our hopes of what we're trying to do. And really, I'm starting to think, man, maybe Kyrie Irving, I don't think he retires from the NBA, but it might be hard for him to get a job in the NBA coming up next season, because I don't know any NBA franchise that is willing to put up with this, going forward. And again, it just comes down to, can he produce? Absolutely. Can he produce at a high level? Yes, he can. But if he's not on the floor, he can't produce. And stupid stuff like this that is going on, unfortunately, is going to cause Kyrie Irving to miss time. And I just think, for Brooklyn's sake, they're out. And I think really a majority of the NBA teams may look at Kyrie and be like, you know what? For as talented as he is, he's just not worth it. And man, that's that's another hot take I wanted to drop on this podcast.
Man, I'm right there with you, man. Couldn't have just took the words right out of my mouth.
Man, this Kyrie situation, it's frustrating, man. It's very frustrating, man. Especially, when you think about it, so many people just dream about having the job that he has, like just dream and fantasize about it. He's treating it this way, man. But whatever, Kyrie. Yeah. All right, man. So that wraps it up right there, man. That was our list, 1 through 15, our Eastern Conference predictions, man. So we're gonna do this little thing right here on ClutchTalk. We have our League Pass team to watch. And we know you got the Everything Pistons pod. We know you hold them down for the Pistons. We know Jay Hill is a Dub Nation faithful, baby. We know I'm over here repping the Lakers. But we all got our teams. We got to be on League Pass. So we watching this year. So Lance, do you got your League Pass team ready? What team are you excited for this year besides the Pistons?
Man, so a team I always have a couple teams every year that I really follow, that I enjoy watching. I don't know why I picked them, but I just do. And Charlotte out of the East, they're a team I will League Pass with. I'm going to the Pistons home opener next week on October 20th. And one of my friends, he wants to get tickets to the Charlotte game when they come to Detroit. So I might be going to that game as well. That's going to be really exciting for me. Out of the Western Conference, I love the Dallas Mavericks. I'm a huge Luka Doncic fan. I love watching him play. And I love watching the Phoenix Suns play as well. I'm a huge Devin Booker fan as well. He's from Grand Rapids. He grew up 45 minutes away from me. I'm going to be watching the Phoenix Suns as well. So I got 3 League Pass teams this season.
All right. Jay, what's up? Where's your League Pass team?
Yeah, well, when the fans are hearing this, though, I've already heard my team in the West, obviously the Timberwolves. But my League Pass, like Lance said, is the Charlotte Hornets. And who goes without question. They're such a fun team to watch. I love seeing what LaMelo does with the ball. We don't even know where the next pass is going, honestly. But the Hornets are a great, fun team to watch. And then in person, I'm right here in Toronto, so I'm going to, by nature, just flock to whatever Raptor game I can get to. They need to lower those prices, though. But I'm gonna try to make it out to whatever game I can. One game I already have marked down is when the Dubs come to town, so I'm definitely going to check out that.
Oh, yeah. All right, Jay. I like those 2 teams. You got to represent the 6 over there. All right. Well, what's up, Lance?
Oh, I just wanted to say, for people that are listening, if you want to get – I shouldn't even say – I maybe this isn't true for every team, but but I met a Pistons ticket rep and he gave me incredible discounts on tickets. I want to tell everybody listening, if you're a basketball fan, you're trying to get to a game, try to get connected with a ticket rep. They can offer you huge discounts to your favorite team to go watching. Like, I'm literally sitting 10 rows behind the bench at the Pistons and it cost me $80 a ticket. Like, I'm pretty excited. And I mean, maybe that's just because it's the Pistons. They're not very good. They haven't been for a while, but like, meet a ticket rep for your local team, and I guarantee you they will give you discounts on tickets for you to go to games. Maybe you have to buy a package. Maybe some reps make you do that. The rep I got, I can do single game, and he offers me substantial discounts on games. So I'll just say that's a little advice I'm going to drop to people right now. Just meet a ticket rep for your team.
Lance, how did you meet Lance the plug? I like that. Lance, how did you meet a ticket rep? I'm trying to meet one. Was it just right time, right place, or what?
Okay, so this is actually really funny. So in Michigan, well, really in the city of Detroit, well, really, even let me break it down more than that. Little Caesars Arena, where the Pistons play, also where the Red Wings play, they have this 75-mile rule this season. Like, if you live 75 miles away from Little Caesars Arena, you can't actually buy tickets. So on the Pistons subreddit, shout out to Tommy from Driving to the Basket podcast. He moderates that forum. He's awesome. Someone put out there, hey, has anybody heard of this 75-mile rule? And I clicked, yeah, I tried to buy tickets, blah, blah, blah. Couldn't buy them, because of my address. Someone was like, hey, man, if you need help, feel free to send me a private message. I don't know who it was. So I was like, whatever. I'll take a blind leap of faith. Messaged him, turned out to be a rep on Reddit, and he sent me an email to give me discounts on tickets. So that's how I met my ticket rep. On Reddit, the internet is amazing. You can find anything you need.
Well, for all the fans, go make sure you hit Reddit if you want to get some discount for a game, man.
Jeez.
All right, man. All right. Well, then we can go ahead and close it off here. I'll finish off by saying my League Pass team, when this episode, like how Jay Hill said, when this episode comes out, the Western one will already be out, and that my League Pass team was the Grizzlies. Before the Eastern Conference, man, I really want to go with the Hornets too, because they got my boy Humley Diddly Do, Miles Bridges. But I got to go with the team you guys were just not showing no love to. I got to go with the Bulls, man. I'm really excited for the Bulls to see the White Mamba out there, to see Zach LaVine, to see DeMar DeRozan. I'm very, very, very excited, man. So Jay, you as we wrap up here, you got any last words you want to say to Lance?
Maybe I might made a journey down to catch a Piston game too. I mean, that's not that far of a drive. They got some reasonable price tickets now that my guy Lance said it, and I don't have the 75-mile rule too, so I'm gonna check it out. But nah, Lance, always appreciate you coming on the show. We'll definitely have you back. Check out the Everything Pistons Pod as well. And Lance, do you want to say anything to the guests, to the fans? Sorry.
Just check out the Everything Pistons podcast if you're interested in the Pistons. It's a fun podcast. We do it every week. Every Sunday we record. We release those podcasts on Monday morning at 6 a.m. every week. We've interviewed some pretty cool guests. We're always trying to find people to come on and talk about the Pistons with us. But you can follow me on Twitter at LanceCaprosi. I'm going to extend the invite to you, man. You make it down to Michigan, we'll go to a game together. So sure. I'm more than happy to meet with you. Like, I enjoy talking with both of you. Actually, really, the invite's extended to both of you guys. If you ever find your way in Michigan, hit me up. I'm always down to hang out and go to a game with you guys.
Man, we appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
We do, man. So
I have to take you up. Yeah.
Do it, man.
Real, Jay.
Problem.
You're going to get Lance, you're going to get a call from me and Jay Hill in the middle of the night. Lance, we in Detroit. What's up?
I'll be there, man.
All right, man. Yeah. Well, for all the fans, man, like Lance said, make sure you go check out all of his content. Again, it's going to be all in the description down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and that's it, man. We out of here, y'all. ClutchTalk out.
Peace.